riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that week has passed. It's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Why I Hate This Album. I am one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey. With me, as always, Montana to my Hannah, co-host extraordinaire, Timothy Richardson. Tim, how you doing, buddy?
Bad, Garrett. I'm doing real bad.
Oh, why would you be doing bad? It's a joyous time of year. We're celebrating rebirth, an opportunity to forget all the hate, wash away the sadness, and start fresh.
We're doing a terrible job of that because this episode we're going to be talking about the albums that we listened to in 2019.
Tim, before you purge, you have to face your demons. We've got to really live through it. We're going to crawl back through the muck that was 2019 in all its glory, and we're going to come up with the worst of the worst or the best of the best, depending on how you want to describe it. This is our year in review, folks. So if this is your first episode, you picked an interesting one, I suggest you go back and start ideally from the beginning. But we're going to be talking about what we hated the most this year, what we think maybe deserves a second look, and as many of you have requested, we're going to talk about music we actually like.
And Garrett, we are doing something a little extra special for this episode. We decided we are going to do a live episode. So as you are listening to this at home, we are actually currently speaking to you through the wonders of technology. I don't know exactly how it works, but Garrett explained it and it made sense at the time.
Yep, we figured it out. Don't put a lot of thought into it. Just know right now, every word we say is happening live. Now is now. The future will be now. You know, I don't fully get it either. Kevin explained it to me.
Oh God. Okay, well, let's just say, yeah, this is live.
Okay, done. Let's just say it's live and let's keep going. Tim, before we start talking about what albums we found to be just truly horrible of the horrible albums that we listened to in 2019, I want to talk first a little bit about our criteria, how we formulated each of our own lists. I can personally say there's not a lot.
Yeah, we did this last year. I wrote many paragraphs detailing the criteria that I used, what I thought about as I listened to each album, differentiating between the experience I had and the context of the album. And then, after all of that, you said, I didn't really come up with any criteria. It's just whatever I thought of at the time. And it pissed me off.
Yeah.
But this year I did the same thing.
If you asked me to do this again in a week, might be a totally different list. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
I don't think it would be a different list. I really hate the 5 albums I picked.
You're right. However, Tim, I will say that in my list, I have albums that, of course, I hated so much. I never want to do another one by these artists again. I also have a few in there that not only was that the case, but even our listeners seemed to be just significantly underwhelmed by the album. And then I attempted to consider whether the music itself was any good, but mostly I just went with what I hated.
Sure.
Let's get right into it. I wish we had a drum roll. Gino, drop in the drum roll here. He's not going to do it, is he?
No. Drum roll.
Are you just saying drum roll in the place of
Yes.
a drum roll? I appreciate you pitching in. Tim, do you want to go first or do you want me to?
You go first.
Great. Mine is in no particular order. What about you?
The last one I'm going to say is the one I hated the most.
Okay, you know what? I can at least do that much. So I'm going to start with my number 5, episode 76, Ashley Simpson autobiography, October 1st, 2019.
Really?
Yes.
Because of the cat sex.
I will say that cat play has haunted me since we learned of it on that episode.
It's haunted this show.
It has. Sometimes I'm here pretty late working with the fellas in the lab. And of course, by fellas, I mean any and all gender definitions. But I hear an errant meowing in the halls of our empty headquarters late in the evening, Tim. Have you heard the phantom meowing?
I let some cats in, Garrett. They were scratching at the door. I'm sorry.
Why?
They looked so hungry and you didn't eat all of your sandwich.
So you let the cats in to finish off the food that wasn't eaten.
Your food, yes.
Here's what I recommend. You got rid of the food with the cats. You want to get rid of these cats. Let's introduce a wolf.
Oh, I like that. And then perhaps some sort of woodland ape. Here's what we do. We've got the wolves. We introduce a woodland ape.
Why?
To get rid of the wolves.
The wolf and the woodland ape, which again, I'm not sure if that's an expression.
and then
they're not natural enemies.
They are. I don't know if you've ever seen a wolf and a woodland ape come into contact with one another, but anyway, then you release the Liam Neeson. The Liam Neeson cleans up the woodland ape and any errant wolves that have managed to hide, and then we just kidnap Liam Neeson's daughter and release her outside. He'll go out, we lock the door.
It's not a bad plan. The only flaw I see, I don't think we need that ape. I think we skip the ape step entirely. You're introducing a lot of complexity.
I have released an ape into our studios.
Why?
To get rid of the future wolves.
I'm not buying
Maybe
it.
the ape will take care of the cats and then the wolves will take care of the ape. Have you ever seen a woodland ape try to take care of cats? It tries, but it is far stronger than it realizes.
Oh yeah, it's going to rip those kitties to pieces.
Anything else you hated about Ashley Simpson other than cat sex?
I have a bit of a pop bias. So LMFAO, that's pop music, right?
Possibly.
For lack of a better genre. That's ridiculous. So I have no problem with it. But my problem with Ashley Simpson is it just wasn't ridiculous.
Well, yeah, she tried to be dark and punky.
Sexy?
Yeah, and sexy. She did try to be sexy. Also, was this the album that we actually were able to watch the creation of? And
Yes.
It was essentially just somebody that should have been the artist on the album singing and then her doing what they did?
Yeah, practicing for months to sound exactly like the person that wrote the song. All right, Tim, what's your number 5?
Falling in Reverse, The Drug in Me Is You.
What?
Yes, Garrett, I lost 26% of my vision that week due to misapplied eyeliner, and I have not gotten it back. You promised it would come back. I have a very specific reason for hating this.
You lost your license?
Oh no, I renewed it by mail. I cannot see, but I can drive.
Great.
I deserve a Purple Heart for all my fucking wounds. Lacerations to my ego, pride that I've consumed. I hate Rojo.
Well, he's the one that went to jail, right, for his hand in a murder?
Oh, absolutely. He assisted in a murder.
Well, assisted?
The murder would not have happened without his actions.
I guess he did kick it off.
He threatens to murder women that won't pick up the phone. He constantly bitches about how everyone has it in for him and treats him unfairly, despite, as you said, the time he assisted in a murder. There's Christian Bale Batman voicing, and there's vomiting sound effects.
I forgot about that. Good pick, Tim. But you know what? I loved doing that episode. I had a lot of fun with that episode.
I did too, but I hated that album.
And that's fair because the top 5 requires no justification.
That's why this year is better than last year. I did a lot less research.
And honestly, I think this is going to be a better episode for it.
What's your number 4?
Number 4, episode 73, Sublime, 40 Ounces to Freedom. Because fuck Sublime and fuck you, Tim.
Okay, so I will put this as my number 4. I actually had it as my number 2. I have another quote for you.
Oh, great.
I've never raped anyone, at least as far as I can remember. We were at a party a long time ago and we were talking about how much date rape sucked. This guy was like, date rape isn't so bad. If it wasn't for date rape, I'd never get laid. Everyone at this party was bummed out about it, but I was cracking up and I wrote a funny song about it. No, you didn't. That never happened and your song isn't funny, you stupid jackass. We should find Bino and just savagely beat him. You said we should do that after the first Sublime episode, and I
you
agree.
pointed out that he was dead.
Oh, right. Yes.
And I said, let's
Yes.
beat that corpse. There's a lot of things I will and will not do. One thing I will do, I will desecrate a corpse.
You will and have.
Whoa, well,
There is a long line of corpses that were in better condition when you found them than when you left them.
Sure, but that was just shoddy work as a gravedigger. I don't want to give anyone the impression that I purposely mutilated those corpses. With Bradley Knowles, I'm
Bradley
desecrating that corpse.
Bino.
Okay, I hate you. I hate you so much. All right, Tim, what's your number 4? Well, now it's your number 3, right?
Yeah, so do you go again? How does this work?
I guess I go again.
All right.
Okay, my number 3 then, U2, How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb.
Oh, that is a good pick.
That was from June of this year. We learned, though, freedom smells like babies.
Well, babies smell like freedom. I forget which way it works.
And then I think we also came to the conclusion that Bono had cloned himself, changing the chromosomes such that the clone would be a woman with all of his memories so that he could literally fuck himself.
Yeah, Bono, Suckballs, Steinheg, Van Heusen, Svanenlagen, Bang Bang Bang. That guy can go fuck himself.
And that is why
Literally.
it's on this list, because this album is not good, for starters. But the worship that Bono receives after putting out decades of trash is completely mind-boggling. And you can save your tweets. If you need to hear it, go listen to the episode. It's number 69. Yes, he brings some attention to charitable causes. It does.
Unlike us, we do not donate to charity as per an email that was sent to us.
Right. What are you talking about?
Oh, somebody sent us an angry email for making fun of Bono, saying that we do not give to charity and therefore we could not understand all that it is to be Bono.
Right. He is a 100 millionaire, if not billionaire at this point.
I think him and The Edge combined to have $1 billion.
And mostly he flies around in private jets, receiving honorary degrees and awards.
Oh, it's Dr. Suckballs, Garrett.
I hate him so much, Tim.
He's legally allowed to perform surgery.
No, that's not how that works. Tim, what's your number 3?
My number 3, Weezer's Ratitude. Rivers Cuomo should be in prison. And I had completely forgotten about the insane songwriting process where he has playlists of stolen chord progressions and binders of pop music that he attempts to reverse engineer, and spreadsheets of unconnected lyrics that he randomly puts together based on syllable counts because he is not a human being. He is a crazy person / robot.
Right. He embodies everything that I don't like about music.
Sure. There's a Lil Wayne cameo. There's a song about how he likes to hang out at the mall with teenagers. A song about how he's thankful that a girl grew up and became hot enough for him, which presumably means became Asian. There's a song called...
I was going to say, there is all those rumors about the Asian obsession.
I'm not even going to say allegedly after that. He does have a brother named Leaves, though, and that is adorable.
Yeah. So I went back and I read all the notes for the episodes from this year. And when I read the notes for Weezer's Ratitude, I didn't remember anything. I remember vaguely something about UHJs, but I don't even know what those were anymore. Ultimate hand jobs? No, undercover hand job? I don't know.
Either one's good. I hope that I ain't freaking you out. You probably hear it all the time. I swear I ain't like those other boys. I'm a special kind. I would like to give you a demonstration of what it is I do. Is some lyrics from a song called I'm Your Daddy. He's a monster.
I want to show you what it is I do. First of all, I'm going to need you to call me Machine. No one should refer to their intimacy as show you what it is I do.
Right. Well, he wants to give you a demonstration. So he's knocking on the doors of all the Asian parents in the neighborhood, and he's got a 30-minute presentation that he is going to give.
Slides of photos with him in a real doll.
I spend hours a day performing oral sex on this real doll. This could be yours. This could all be yours.
What do you mean, all be yours? You mean the daughters?
I don't mean the daughters, Garrett. I'm not the one doing presentations in the home of neighborhood Asians.
Folks, if you don't know what we're talking about, go listen to the episode. Number 58.
He's a monster. He should be in prison, Garrett.
Easy, Garrett. Oh, I'm Tim. No, you're Tim.
Oh my God, it's finally happened. We are one. We are Tarot.
No, don't put that out there.
It's too late. Somebody's already drawing a picture. This is live, remember?
Right. I forgot. Okay, Tim. My number 2, I guess it would be?
Yes.
Imagine Dragons, Night Visions, episode 61. Ugh. I have very little to say about this, aside from 2 things. I did not like the music. I think it is objectively bad music, and I didn't enjoy the episode. I did not enjoy it. Let me rephrase. Nothing from the episode stands out.
That's true. That album just sucks. It sounds like it was written by studio executives, like it is the Suicide Squad of albums.
Well put. It's so much production and noise.
Yes, for no benefit whatsoever.
Yeah, more drums, more beats, more synth. Just layer it in there, and then we're going to have this guy scream. In the notes, I did have Creamo. Do you remember if that was country emo or creepy emo?
It was Christian emo.
Oh, yeah, Creamo. Well, you know what, Tim? There was a silver lining on this. We got Creamo.
Well, I feel like Creamo also came from Evanescence.
It may have also come from, what's Scott Stapp's band? Tim's Arms Wide Open.
Creed.
Yeah, that could have had Creamo as well.
My number 2 is Hollywood Undead Swan Songs.
What?
I had a great time with this album. I had a great time with that episode. The music is objectively fucking garbage.
I can't disagree. That music is really, really bad, but I enjoyed the episode and album so so much. It's so crazy.
I did too. Absolutely. It's Falling in Reverse, but worse, and with rapping and masks and crow noises, attempted 12 sums, menage a deux. There's child choruses harmonizing with them at some point.
God, Tim, you're making me want to listen to it again.
Yeah, no, it's great. But they need to have the courage just to go full Slipknot.
No way. Keep doing what they're doing. More of this.
Okay, we'll see. You say more of this. Trigger warning, gonna read some of their terrible lyrics. Because there's nothing in my life except my dick and what I spit. So my dick is in my hand when I respond to faggots talking shit. Speaking of fag, already wrapped with the drag. We killed him and stuffed his body in the Cadillac.
Dude, you just pulled the worst lyrics from that whole album.
Yes, and again, my point is, it's bad.
God, that's really, really bad. And I'm not defending it. It's horrible. I agree with you. It makes for a great episode. We were furious when we finished.
Yes. And, I got an email, or maybe it was an Instagram. You were wrong. I heard back from some of the people. I got some apologies for people recommending it. And several of those people said they wished that they were allowed to hear the episode, but they abided by my request that they be banned. And,
yeah, I saw those. What is wrong with you people? Just do what I do. Just ignore him. Or placate him, but do whatever you want. He cannot
placate me.
Well, yeah, I guess they did. Well, no, I don't think they listened.
That's how they placated me.
Well, no, I'm just saying, just say to your face that they didn't, and then do it. You have my permission to listen to it and to lie to Tim.
But not mine. Don't give people that permission. What was your worst album?
My number one, and this is my number one worst album of the year, was Weezer Ratitude.
Yeah.
So we did already talk about it, but I really want to say I hated this. I hate Weezer.
You should.
I can't even listen to Sweater Song, Tim.
Yeah, we need to go back and do the Blue album, and we need to do Pinkerton.
Ooh, man, Pinkerton is a landmine.
And I feel like that album might be lyrically worse than this, and that hurts to say, because I used to really like that album.
We already talked about this, so let's move on. What was your number one least favorite album of the year?
My least favorite album, and I cannot believe it's not your also least favorite album, is the longest album we did. It is 1 hour and 35 minutes. It is objectively the worst album. We couldn't find the lyrics to half of the songs, which made us listen even harder. I re-listened to this entire album this week. I almost did not survive.
Lay it on us.
Corey Feldman, Angelic to the Core, the album that included a cover of Corey Feldman doing John Lennon's Working Class Hero. He kidnapped or possibly just trapped a whole stable of women.
Oh, yeah. Corey's Angels? We don't know if they ever got out.
No, they didn't.
Oh, God.
They die and then are replaced with a new person he has trapped.
I'm just here to, help them with their careers and whatever it is they need to get off the ground. I mean, they live in my house. There's no expectations. It's tough out there. And a lot of people would take advantage of these very young girls. Not me, though.
Yeah.
Sure, they have sex with me.
Well, yeah, they don't have to, but so far, it's not required. Everyone has.
Listen, it's not my fault. Everybody eventually wants to bang the chorister.
That's true. There's jazz scat, there's nu metal, there's synthy electronica, there's Boys to Men stuff. He nails none of it. There's bad Snoop Dogg, bad Freddie Durst cameos, both of whom are way too good for this album.
Is Snoop on there?
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
There are insane Charlie's Angels skits that inexplicably feature the 60s Batman music.
You can hear the fear in these women's voices.
Oh, yeah. And I'll give you the highlights. There's the we were together. We
Tim, you're not doing it right.
There's Lickety Split because he didn't remember that it's Lickety Split. And he says Ascension Millennium 50 times in a single song.
Ascension Millennium. Folks, go Google that. Any performance of that. Ideally the Today Show.
It's amazing. I feel bad for him because this is clearly the product of mental illness and
abuse.
Oh, sure. But he may have done something genuinely amazing here. None of the other albums that we have talked about will be taught in sociology classes in the year 2999, but this will.
I mean, this is a man's psyche laid bare.
And it is ugly.
It's a mess. And I love it so much. It is the most honest, real expression of exactly what he wanted to put out there. And it's unlike anything exactly you've ever heard. And it isn't good.
No.
But he delivers it with a confidence that I just can't wrap my head around.
It's the confidence that I want. I want to have that amount of self-confidence and then not use it for evil or insanity. But I don't think you can. I don't think you can have that amount of self-confidence and also not have a product that's just complete garbage. I think those go hand in hand somehow.
I think you also have to suffer years of abuse.
Yes. Well, you don't have to, but it helps.
All right, Tim, that brings us to honorable mention. This is our next 5 or maybe 6, who knows, albums that weren't quite bad enough, but do deserve to be called out that we listened to this year that just weren't very good. You know what? I kicked it off last time. Let's turn it over to you. In any particular order, Tim, give us your first or last.
Okay, well, I'll go with the quickest one. U2, How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb.
Completely understandable. We got into it. Anything additional you want to say about it?
Nope.
Okay. Then I will see your U2 and I will raise you a Christina Aguilera.
Was that this year? That seems like a really long time ago, or maybe it's just super forgettable.
January 29th, 2019.
Wow.
It was also incredibly forgettable. And I might say it's so bad, it's not good enough for the top 5.
Nothing is egregious enough to be in the top 5.
And I'm curious if whatever album had that dirty song on it, you know what I'm talking about? Where she's all dirty?
No, but that sounds fun.
Yeah, Google that video when I'm not around. The album that's on is, I think, a lot less saccharine, at least. And so that could be more interesting for the show. However, I had such a bad time with the debut album, I don't really want to sign up for more Christina Aguilera. What's your next one?
Another fairly quick one, Imagine Dragons. This just sucked. It sounds like it was made by people whose understanding of musical history only goes back to like Coldplay and Foster the People. It's for people that think of Coldplay as classic rock.
Man, that's depressing to hear.
Well, this whole album is depressing. It's one of those you can't tell if these are upbeat, positive songs or if this is a suicide note.
Yeah, no, I'm inclined to vote suicide.
Yeah, your next one.
My next one is Big and Rich, Horse of a Different Color.
I love that week, though. It's a real shame that people seem to not listen as much when we do country albums, because I think we shine, and I think people just don't really give a shit about country, so less people listen.
If you haven't heard them, folks, those are some of our favorites, at least here at the headquarters. You are right, though. It was a great week. We learned about Cowboy Academy that week. We learned about the Samurai that week. There was a lot of... Oh, yeah. There was a lot of rapping and Jesus.
There's some Cowboy Troy, and Cowboy Troy does what Cowboy Troy do.
That's right. We did have Cowboy Troy. He is prepisode material, at least. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned him.
I can't imagine we won't love it, though, because that man's amazing.
Yeah, he's a glorious specimen. All right, Tim, what's your next one?
Evanescence, Fallen.
No.
Yeah.
What?
What do you mean, what?
I don't know. I don't remember anything about that.
This one we definitely designated as Cremo. I think this is Christian Hot Topic music. It might be Cree-ho-to-moo.
Wake me up inside.
All the lyrics are rejected pitches from No Fear t-shirts. There's a lot of never sleep, never die. And it might be the most perfect encapsulation of Garrett's college and first job poetry book, though. That's right. Garrett, I have an announcement. I called the manufacturer of your notebook. They did not make that model of notebook until 2005. You were in your 30s when you wrote that.
That would be incredible. Yeah, I will not agree to this at all.
You can not agree all you want. The numbers don't lie.
Do not slander me. The numbers don't lie.
Yeah, 2005.
You're claiming all of the high school poetry that I read on this show I wrote in college and my first few years of work.
You wrote after 2005. That's all I can say. That's all the science allows me to say. I will also say Evanescence single-handedly ruined a perfectly good Daredevil movie.
No, that wasn't it. It was the movie.
Oh, but have you ever watched that movie all the way through without hearing this song?
Yeah, I watched that movie on mute before.
You're a very weird person. I don't know why. Okay.
How do you think I write all this stuff? Every week, we get the new album from the sealed envelope, and I listen to it while watching Daredevil on mute. Why do you listen to it?
I go about my day, carry around a notebook.
And like an iPad with Daredevil on mute?
No, I love Daredevil. I would never watch it on mute.
So you just have like Daredevil blaring while you listen to the album?
Yes.
Can't wake up.
I'm more of a Godzilla man, I have to be honest.
Yeah,
Godzilla is the Daredevil of my heart.
You know what? I hope somebody puts that on Instagram in like a week and you're just like, what in the world does that mean? going to take a quick moment to just say thank you, and it's hilarious. You guys hit us up with lines and inside jokes from the show, and the big ones we remember, but some of it is so specific.
Yeah, well, I would argue that Violence Cow or the Cow of Violence should be a big one, and I don't remember what that is.
We keep getting drawings of cows of violence, or violence cows, whatever that was.
Yeah, they're terrifying. I apparently suckle at the teat of the Cow of Violence. The breast.
That sounds
I
right.
apologize.
Nobody calls it that.
What's your next one?
My next one is Halsey, Badlands. Episode.
Oh, but the youth brigades. Do not badmouth the youth brigades.
We did learn about her youth brigades, and that part was great. However, it is, for me, 2019's, or maybe 18, I don't remember when that came out, 16? Who knows? It is a modern-day Aguilera situation for me. Not enough insanity is in here for me to really enjoy it.
Fair enough.
However, Tim, we did have an interesting debate. You may or may not remember this. We were discussing, can you have an affair with a ghost?
You can.
I think we landed on you can have an emotional one.
Right.
But physically, I mean, it's a ghost.
Physically, yeah. So you are allowed to have sex with that. That does not count as cheating.
Absolutely not, because it can't touch you.
Well, emotionally. It can touch your heart.
Well, no, if it touches you emotionally, that is cheating.
Right, that's what I mean. It can touch you, but only emotionally. So you can fuck it all you want. After dark.
But how, right, after dark indeed. But how do you fuck it? It's a specter.
With your wiener, Karen.
No, I know. Don't explain to me intercourse. Explain to me the ghost part.
I can't. It
Where
is.
you just like swirl it around in their ethereal plane?
I don't think so. It's far too cold in their world, Garrett.
So they're just like watching you and cheering you on? I don't understand ghost sex at all.
All right. I will draw you a picture.
And I
How
will
about
regret
this? How about
asking.
this, Garrett? You get a mist machine in here, and I will demonstrate.
I'm not falling for that at all. What's your next one?
311's 311.
That's a great pick. I struggled with this.
You would think that punk rock reggae is the recipe for ska, but this is not ska. This is rappy. There's turntablists. And I was shocked at how many lyrics I had misheard. And even after listening to this 10 plus times in a week and reading all the lyrics as I went along with it, I can't remember any of the lyrics because the lyrics are 100% nonsense words and syllables. What I hear makes significantly more sense than what they're actually saying. This is the equivalent of hearing the wind and thinking like you hear a word or something because your brain is just picking out patterns. They're not saying anything.
You have dementia. No, I know exactly what you're saying. I forgot there were a lot of revelations in that episode where we learned what was actually being allegedly said, and it was pure nonsense.
Oh yeah, there's brodels, there's nazes. The brodels is the Naz, and the Naz knows where it's at. The brodels is the Naz who knows a cat who can feed a cat, is apparently the lyrics.
Well, the brodel is the Naz.
Well, yeah, and the Naz does know where it's at, but to connect those two, maybe it's genius.
That's the ramblings of a heroin addict.
Yeah, I don't think they use drugs, though.
He did, didn't he?
I don't remember.
Isn't that how he died?
No, he's still alive.
Wait,
311 is still
311, that's right. Sorry. I was thinking of Sublime.
Oh, yeah.
You can understand why.
Here's a perfect encapsulation of this band and what it thinks of itself. They have a song called DLMD, which stands for Don't Let Me Down. They went with the initials because they were scared that people would confuse their song with the Beatles song. This might deserve to be in my top 5. I hate 311. I'm also embarrassed at how much I loved 311 when I was a child, so there's that.
I can't believe we haven't had any crossover in the honorable mention.
I have had 2 crossovers with your top 5.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. All right, moving on then. My next one would be Spice Girls from episode 70.
I can't believe that.
Really?
Shocking to learn. Garrett, here's the problem with saying you don't like the Spice Girls. They'll fucking kill you.
Right. We did learn that they may or may not be a team of international assassins, or at least were at the time. That part is true, but the songs were not interesting at all, and I was really excited for that episode.
I feel like they were sexy, maybe? Or am I just...
The women?
No,
the women
songs
were sexy.
Also the songs.
They were a little sexy. They weren't overly sexy. They weren't like Nicki Minaj sexy.
That was way too long ago, Garrett. That was like episode 25. I don't remember that.
You haven't been keeping up with Miss Minaj?
No, she's not a musician anymore. She quit.
Also in that episode, we had an unusual and unnecessarily long conversation about David Beckham.
Oh, David Beckham. Garrett, I have some more thoughts on David Beckham.
Oh, come on, man. We don't have time
here's
for
the
this.
thing. You are a very honest person. You bare your soul on this show. There's a couple of times, though, that you have just outright lied to our audience. One, is when you said that you don't watch Bones. Bullshit. The other is when you said that you never told me about how much you think David Beckham is handsome. And I mean, there's
Neither
posters.
of these things are true.
They're both true. You are a liar, selectively, admittedly.
I've never seen Bones.
You downloaded Bones. I saw it on your computer. You are a liar.
At most, it was a test download.
Oh, yeah. And I'm sure that thing I saw you doing with my Beckham poster was just a test.
I wasn't doing anything
the
with
waters.
I'm glad you admit it's your Beckham poster that you put over my bed so you can
it's
see
mine
it.
because I knew you didn't have the confidence to buy it
don't.
yourself.
Please stop supplementing my confidence.
Yeah, I guess if there is one thing you don't need more of, it is confidence.
Yeah, and certainly not from you. Such a moist confidence. I don't know why I even brought it up. You know what? New rule. Gino, write it down. We will not talk about, I'm not even going to say his name, he who shall not be named.
Oh, we're talking about David Beckham more.
God damn it. All right, Tim, what's your next one?
My next one is Vanilla Ice's Hard to Swallow. If you want, I can read from the Horny song.
Please do.
You're getting real close. You're reaching that peak. Work them hips like a pistons in a Corvette. Slow down, or I'll have to pull you over. Search ya, handcuff ya, and do a move on ya. Don't you know my cream is good for your health? You're getting real hot. Now I'm gonna spray you. Rub it in like lotion. Juices flowing everywhere, like water in the ocean. And all that junk in your trunk, don't be stingy with it. Climbing up this tall coconut tree. All I want to do is hump with it and make you scream and eat you up as I floss with your G-string. There's also a new metal version of Ice Ice Baby, and he gremlin raps / J-Devil phlegm scats on multiple songs.
Yeah, he does.
He attempts to sing on multiple songs.
Yes, he does.
Bad.
It's so good. You're selling me on it all over again.
Yeah, I mean, we can do another Vanilla Ice album. I'm game. But
We were
that
so
album
young.
is terrible.
That brings me to my very last one, Tim. And that one is episode 65, Aerosmith, Get a Grip. I really loved Aerosmith and this album as a child. I performed an interpretive dance to it and planned to do so in front of my entire school until my parents told me that it was garbage and that I could not possibly embarrass them like that. I learned that Aerosmith had hepatitis C.
Well, not Aerosmith, but Steven Tyler.
Well, hopefully none of them do anymore.
Again, he's so old and weak.
The daughter-girlfriend stuff?
Oh, the sex daughter.
Yes. As well as the sexy daughter promotion.
Right. There's one daughter he uses for arousal, and then he's got an adopted daughter, a stand-in, if you will.
A bang daughter.
That he actually, yes.
And folks, just to be clear, he was her legal guardian, and they made the sex.
Well, in fairness, he only became her legal guardian so that he could transport her across the country and have sex with her. It's not weird, Garrett. It's a well-thought-out legal maneuver so he could have sex with a minor.
That's a super weird call for a lawyer to get. Here's what I'm looking about doing.
Find a way to make this legal. Jesus Christ, Steven Tyler, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Sharon, I thought I told you when Tyler calls, I'm not here. All right, what's your last one in honorable mentions, Tim?
My last one is Aerosmith.
Yes! You know what? That makes it all worth it. Out of 10 we listed, we came together on the last one.
Yep, and the only other thing I will add to the Aerosmith discussion, I think that one is where cow breast came from.
It is.
And I love cow breast.
Weird. Makes me uncomfortable. That brings us to the prepisodes, Tim. This year we introduced the concept of reviewing a single song, and I'm so glad we did. We've gotten a great response from the listeners, lots of suggestions. And so we picked our 5 least favorite singles from those episodes to talk about here. My first one is prepisode number 10, John Mayer, Your Body is a Wonderland.
Oh, it's a good pick.
That song just kind of sucks.
Yeah, and it's gross. He's gonna molest you with his giant hands and also his eyes. And you can't take a bath without him coming in and playing an acoustic guitar at you.
Right. Nobody wants to live with that. What's your next one, Tim?
Mine is new song, The Christmas Shoes. I want to say fuck you for not hating this. Fuck this song. Fuck Kevin for messing up the audio. The one bright side we have here is that after 2 years, we were able to finally inform our listeners of how to get into heaven. So we probably saved a bunch of souls.
Agree to disagree. Everything about that episode is amazing except for the sound quality.
I don't have a real disagreement with that, but the song sucks. And you suck a little for not admitting that.
That song is awesome.
It is is not.
If I could remember any of it, I would sing it at you in triumph.
Yes, but it's clearly forgettable enough that you can't. What's your next one?
My next one, Tim, is Prepisode number 8, John Ashcroft, Let the Eagle Soar.
Oh, I have that tied for 1/2.
My number 1 has no competition, and I suspect it's your number 1.
Probably.
John Ashcroft, Let the Eagle Soar. It's my number 4, your number 2. It is insane that human being, the same brain that could tell him that that's a good idea to go out and do that in front of people, is the same man that was in charge of so very much of our government decisions. He changed lives, and not for the better.
Right? He changed lives with this song and not for the better. Think about how many young men heard this song and thought, yeah, I'll go to war. I'll defend the mighty eagle. She's too young to die. She's still got a lot of climbing to do. And if we try, we can make it.
Let the eagle soar.
I feel like he should have been sent to Iraq to do a little fighting. If that's what you want to put out there in the world, you're going to have to at least back it up with some personal experience.
Or just have him go do a USO show at a forward operating base. Honestly, I think he'll get enough friendly fire from that'll cure him of 2 problems. What's your next one, Tim?
Number 4 is The Eagles, King of Hollywood.
Oh, I loved that episode.
Sure. The day this song came out, it was a reasonable examination of a very real trend in the entertainment industry. It was a warning
It only took 40 years for everyone to catch on.
Right, exactly. It was a warning about making people bang you as a step toward fame. And a year later, it could have been, or it should have been used as evidence in a trial against Mr. Henley after several underage girls were found naked and overdosed on Quaaludes at his house. However, luckily for him, instead of him being locked in prison for several years, those underage girls were charged with prostitution.
Yeah, and possession of Quaaludes in their body.
Luckily, society has changed since 1980 and we no longer have any of these problems. Done. Nailed it, America.
My next one, Tim. What are we on? Number 3, I guess? This might shock you. My number 3, Prepisode number 16, Yesterday.
Really?
The more I think about this movie, I've come to 2 conclusions. 1, it need not ever existed. 2, the romantic comedy construct is so fucking stupid that it caters to the lowest common denominator. And any film that maintains that basic structure as their movie can go fuck itself.
I liked it. Fair enough. It's not really a song, but sure.
It was a prepisode. Number 3, what do you got?
I have a Red Hot Chili Peppers Stretch You Out. As my evidence, stretching out your tightness. Good enough to make you grow. We are all in favor of this motion. Stretching out your tightness. Time to open up your hole. When it rains, I let myself get wet. Also, it's about banging Flea, right? We decided on that?
I don't know if we decided. We hoped it wasn't.
Oh,
if it is,
okay.
and he's into it, Godspeed.
Absolutely. That would be adorable. Because Flea's like little, right?
He also has had the face of like an 80-year-old man since he was 28.
Sure. And they probably have Hep C, allegedly.
Wow.
Also, this features Dave Navarro, also probably has Hep C, but he is not great in the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
No, he really Navarro'd up that aeroplane or whatever it was, 1 hot minute. Okay, that brings me to my number 2, Prepisode number 5, Red Hot Chili Peppers Stretch You Out. See previous number. What's your number 2?
Well, I already gave you my number 2. It was John Ashcroft.
No, that doesn't sound right. What was your number 2?
John Ashcroft.
Agree to disagree.
No. You do not get to pick your own reality.
Oh, yes, I do. So, our number 1, Tim, the exact same one. I'll say the band, you say the name. Bono.
Hallelujah.
This is an affront to music, society, and humanity.
It takes a real Bono to convert one of the best songs ever written into this.
Hallelujah. I can't even do it anymore. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. It sounds like one of those motion-activated CVS witches that you put on the front door when you come trick or treat.
But you're forgetting the beat poetry sung over bleeps and blorps. This is trash and Bono is a trash person.
Well put. All right, Tim. Now we get to switch gears. We're going to name some albums that we listened to this year and artists that we think need to be revisited. Who needs a second look? What are you thinking twice about?
My first one is Guster. I need to hear more from Guster.
I think that's fair.
I want to hear more about this farm. I want to hear more about their weird daddy play. Guster Farms. I need to know more about about what's going on there.
We got a little bit of a reach out from Guster. One of our listeners asked a question about what's the best liquor to drink after listening to Guster's airport song to wash away the sadness, and Guster replied.
Oh, that's nice of them.
Good to know we're out there giving Guster something to do. My first revisit, Tim, is 21 Pilots. I think we can do better. I really didn't enjoy that album. I didn't even really very much enjoy the episode. I think they've got an album that's much worse than the one we did.
I'll do that, sure.
What else you got?
Billie Eilish. We read an email from somebody maybe 2 weeks ago, maybe. They was yelling at us about Billie Eilish and about how she has an EP that came out before this where she and her brother pretend to be serial killers and sailors. That's what I want to hear.
So maybe on a prepisode?
Well, we could do the whole EP.
I have Billie Eilish in my list as well because I think that she may turn out to be a very good musician. They did something new.
Ideally, 3 albums from now, I hope that she comes out with something I like.
I have no problem saying it's not for me, but I think she's talented and could go somewhere. Could also just be more whispering for the next half a decade and then we never hear from her again.
Sure.
My next one, Tim, since we both did Billie Eilish, I will do Falling in Reverse, The Drug in Me Is You.
Is this just because you've heard there's rapping a lot more?
I've heard it gets so much crazier. What's your next one?
My next one is a couple of young upstarts, this Fresh Prince character and his buddy.
His Jazzy Jeff?
Yeah.
I could definitely do some more DJ Jazzy Jeff. Would you want to do the early stuff or would you want to do when they're really sputtering out and everybody just said no thanks?
I want to do one album after the Nightmare on My Street album, the one that's at least in part about Mike Tyson.
Okay, Tim, my next one. Oh, this is going to piss you off. Neil Young, Trans.
Yes, I absolutely want to do more 80s Neil Young.
Turns out I love it.
You do not. No.
I've switched, folks. Neil Young, Trans. Thumbs up. I'm listening to it.
I will not allow this. If you buy that record, I will smash it.
I am definitely going to buy that record, and if you smash it, I will slap you into a puddle.
I will replace it with Reactor. If you figure that out, I will replace it with Everybody's Rocking.
Oh my God.
Let's do a Neil Young 80s month.
No. I mean, I'm asking for more Neil Young's 80s collection, but not all Neil Young 80s. This is what you do, Tim.
Let's do January. All January, all Neil Young 80s.
We've already scheduled January. And
with Neil Young.
Tim, what's your next one?
This is going to surprise you. Lil Nas X. I want to hear more about his Cowboy Catastrophe and Paninis. I want a full Lil Nas X album.
I want to know if he maintains the cowboy aesthetic. I don't think he will.
I don't think so either, and I think that's a mistake. I think there's a lot of cowboy fans out there.
You are biased and usually wrong, but I think that there is a very interesting lane for him because he's a unique character.
There's a cowboy lane that he could ride his whole career, if you will.
Yes. Definitely would never put it that way, but yes. That brings me to my very last one, Tim, my number 5. Who do I really want to revisit? And this is by order of ranking. Number 1 of the year. Episode 53, Corey Feldman, Angelic to the Core.
Oh, I do not like you. I'm changing out my last one now.
What?
I was going to say something else. I've got a last minute addition. The artist that I would like to hear more from. 100%. Because you said Corey Feldman.
If you say Sublime, I swear to God.
Garrett.
What?
It's Sublime. Robin the Hood. If it helps at all, Gwen Stefani makes a guest appearance on it.
It does help.
It will not.
We will do that album when the album HatePod account on Twitter has 500 followers.
All right. I can make that happen tomorrow.
No, you can't buy bots.
I wasn't going to. I don't have money. It's going to make a bunch of Twitter accounts.
That's fine. Wow, your last one's a real kick in the dick. One of the number 1 questions we get on a weekly, daily basis, geez, guys, what music do you like?
Hold on. Usually people, and again, it's almost always in writing, but usually people aren't that shitty about it.
Well, sure, I'm not adding the paragraph beforehand where they say they really like the show.
Yeah, but that voice.
Do you like my read?
No, I don't.
We thought about doing just a 2019, but because we get this question so much, what we decided to do was just pick some bands that we might have talked about on this show, maybe not, but at least my list, Tim, is stuff that I think is a chance that maybe folks have not heard of or might not be listening to. Don't know about you.
Mine's basically the same thing. I specifically excluded things like, I'm not going to say the Beatles. I'm not going to say Neil Young. I'm not going to say Beck or Jack White. I like those things, but that's not really interesting.
I did focus a little more on what I have been listening to recently in 2019, so I suspect mine's going to be a little more modern than yours, but we'll see.
Sure.
Do you want to roll through your list first, and then I'll roll through mine? Probably easier than going back and forth.
Yeah, so I would go with the Greenhorns, which admittedly is kind of Jack White related.
I would argue it's more Blanche related.
Yeah, you know what? Throw Blanche on there. I like Blanche. Alternative, weird country stuff. The Black Angels are always good. I don't honestly know how popular they are.
Yeah, I have no idea. Living in Austin, you lose all sight because they're constantly playing.
Right. I would also suggest, and Garrett fucking hates it when I suggest this, but he did introduce me to this band, so the Builders and the Butchers. If you like bluegrass, but you want it played with a kind of white stripes aesthetic, it's a good band.
It's a very good band.
That Garrett hates when I mention. I also want to throw out, and this comes with kind of a caveat, Brian Jonestown Massacre, because that guy is insane and moved to Iceland, I believe. So a lot of like the post-2003 stuff has a lot of like Icelandic stuff on it, but they have a greatest hits. I think it's called Tepid Peppermint's Wonderland or something.
Something like that.
It's really good. Yeah, it's just good, solid psychedelic rock. And there's also a documentary called Dig about them and the Dandy Warhols. That is great.
Yeah, watch that doc.
But you won't go to a show after that because it features several times of Anton Newcomb, I guess his name is, just kicking people in the face.
Yeah, real son of a bitch.
He seems unpleasant to be around. I also want to throw out, so the Elephant Six in general, people will say like Nutrimilk Hotel. I want to say Olivia Tremor Control. That band's really good.
Yeah.
Frightened Rabbit. Sadly, that guy, Scott Hutchison, killed himself, but they've got some very good albums.
Yeah, they're very good.
Sad albums.
Also true.
Which in hindsight, I guess makes sense. Ike Riley Assassination is pretty goddamn great. I think you recently got on an Ike Riley kick.
He has not a lot of albums, but I like that band.
Also, some of his stuff is under the name Ike Riley, some of it's under Ike Riley Assassination, and it makes it very confusing when you try to search for him.
Yeah, it's kind of a pain in the ass.
Salesman and Racist, We Belong to the Staggering Evening, Last Demonstration, all very good. Also, the Pack AD. It's two ladies from Canada.
It's just a stripped down two-piece. Their earlier stuff, hate to say this, better than the newer stuff.
Jessica Lee Mayfield, she does kind of an acoustic, folky thing. Her first album, With Blasphemy, So Heartfelt, is great.
I have no idea who that is.
Leopold and His Fiction.
Oh, great pick.
Randomly moved to Austin, so we get to see them occasionally.
Yeah, not as much as we should,
stuff.
Considering they're playing constantly.
He doesn't come out with albums enough. The Rosewood Thieves, I don't know if you ever listened to them.
Oh, yeah.
They do like Spoon, the way Spoon wishes Spoon could still do Spoon. I don't know if they're a band anymore, though.
I don't think so.
Silver Seas is pretty good. If you've seen the first season of Breaking Bad, you've heard at least one of their songs.
Is that some sort of rooster song?
I don't think so. It's got a lot of harmonica in it, which sometimes you refer to as the rooster instrument, so maybe.
I'm pretty sure there's the title of that song's like Rooster something.
It's Catch Your Own Train.
Yeah, I got it. Catch Your Own Train, Rooster.
Yeah. Another one, anyone that takes this advice and listens to this band is going to come away and possibly think that I'm an idiot. Listen to this on and off for about a year and then evaluate. Suburban Kids with Biblical Names, number 3. Yeah, it's insane. It's weird. It's Swedish. Some of it is made of video game noises.
It's great.
It's like a Swedish Beck. And I know, again, that doesn't sound good, but it is very good.
It's in English. The album is called Number 3.
It will change your life if you let it.
Well put. All right, Tim, this is a very long list. What else you got?
Tallest Man on Earth.
It's a great band.
Yep, 2220s. The band Perline that we listened to a very long time ago.
Yeah, they don't exist anymore.
Oh, Amelia Curran, or Curran maybe. War Brides.
I don't think I've heard that.
It's good. Abner J.
Oh yeah, good old Abner J. That's a good blues guy.
While we're on blues, Seasick Steve is good.
Mm-hmm.
R.L. Burnside, who, I mean, I think he's famous, but I can't for the life of me imagine anyone else is actually listening to him, except for maybe the North Mississippi All-Stars. Last one on my list here is somebody I discovered very recently, but was semi-big in the 60s, is Norma Tanega. If you've ever seen What We Do in the Shadows, one of her songs is used over the opening credit.
Yeah, she's great. Okay, Tim, you actually had a lot that I had as well. Let me fill in some gaps. From 2019, Big Thief had 2 albums come out this year. Their more recent of the 2 I thought was better. A band that I found in 2018 that I enjoyed saw once, Hot Snakes. Great name.
I've never heard them.
I don't know if I've ever talked about White Denim on this show. It's not all great, and I should have done my homework. I did not write down the albums that I prefer, so do your homework, guys.
I will vote for that as well.
Ty Segall, I've mentioned him a lot.
Yeah.
King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
I like was it Fishing for Fishies this year?
What's that this year?
I think it was like early January, February, something like that. They've had like 3 albums this year, though.
They have like 11 albums. It's what? Psych rock, drug rock, prog rock. Electronic music. I got super into this guy, band, DJ. Floating Points. The album's called Crush. Pretty good. I did a deep dive, Tim, with Childish Gambino here in 2019 and really came to appreciate a lot of his work. Not the more recent stuff, ironically.
He's somebody that every time I hear him, I enjoy it, but I never actually go out of my way to listen to it.
Thunder Bitch.
Oh, yeah. That's Brittany Howard.
Yeah. Lead singer of Alabama Shakes. And she had a solo album this year.
Jamie.
Oh, right. After her, some cousin maybe that passed away. Sister. I'm not sure. I think it's sister, actually. I saw her at ACL this year, and it wasn't great, and I usually love her.
I like her rocky stuff a lot more than whenever she does more soul kind of things. It's the same problem I have with Gary Clark Jr. I really love his guitar-driven stuff. When he starts to slow it down, I just don't care.
Yep, I completely agree, sadly. And I think that just about does it for my list. So there you go, folks. It's not everything we love, and you can agree, you can disagree. Check out some of those bands if you don't know them, and if you hate all of them, sorry. But that means we get to move on to next up, we have selected a smattering of iTunes reviews. We asked you guys to go out there and rate, review, and subscribe, and you guys did it, and we appreciate it. So we thought that we would read some of the more creative reviews, and folks, we can always use more reviews. These are from iTunes. We put these together, and they are bizarre.
My first one is from way back January 23rd, 2019 by somebody named Salosen N. The best source of info anywhere about the Dutch megacharts. My only complaint? Some episodes fail to mention anything about the Dutch megacharts, but I'm going to go ahead and blame Brad for that oversight. Was Brad still here in January 2019? When did he go to college?
He had already gone to college because he enrolled in the fall semester, allegedly, because we do not know where Brad is. Okay, Tim, the next one up is titled Please from January 29th. It is from, now this is obviously not true, but it is claiming to be from somebody called Brad from the lab.
Oh, wow. Are you sure it's not him?
Oh my God, I'm not sure. Well, let's see what he had to say. They haven't let me out of the room for weeks. Each time hatch is opened and I think I might be released, I just get caned again. Please hurry. I can't survive much longer like this. I am only fed pages of Garrett's notebook deemed too blood-soaked. Okay,
this can't be it, because I believe that he is trapped in a hatch right now, but I think it's on a boat and it's not in our house. We don't have do we have a hatch?
I think that Kevin, / Brad's room / the utility closet might have a hatch.
What do you think they're doing in that hatch?
I don't think Brad's there voluntarily.
Oh.
The review continues. Hey, Kevin's not around right now, is he?
I don't know. That guy sidles around.
He walks like an elephant, Tim. Just silent.
Yes.
The review continues. The day finally came. The hatch opened, and for the first time, kind words were spoken to me. Brad, what have you always wanted to do? Become a marine biologist, I replied. We found a way to make all of our dreams come true. You leave tomorrow to become a marine biologist. Fully funded by your favorite employee owners. I was given a small funnel, a pool skimmer with a broken handle, and several cases of empty Snapple bottles. This checks out so far. Each day, I am transported to various rent-by-the-hour hot tub establishments. I skim the biological materials from the water and deposit them into Snapple bottles. This all sounds like marine biology so far. The funnel kept clogging, so I have resorted to filling the containers by hand. Well, that's just smart. Yeah, you know what, Tim? January 29th, I don't think he had gone missing.
Interesting.
There's a chance that this is from Brad before he went rogue.
Okay, this is by Shannibal Lecter from February 10th, 2019. It's entitled, I've Never Questioned the Reality of Sharks Before. Quickly becoming one of my favorite podcasts. The yes and back and forth between Garrett and Tim usually leads to some great stuff. The only weirdness to the show is the age gap between the two hosts. I thought it would be more distracting than it is. It's not quite a father and son difference, but more like a bigger brother going off to college while the younger one is just starting school himself. Start with a couple of albums you're familiar with, like I did. Then once you start digging the show, go back and listen to the rest. Thank you, Shannibal Lecter. I agree with every one of your points.
We are barely 2 years apart.
We are not quite a father and son distance away, but like, let's say you were 18 and you were shuffling off in the middle of the day without telling your parents you were going to college, and I was starting school, so kindergarten, first grade. I think that is about accurate. We are approximately a decade to 12 years apart. He seems to think it's not that big of a deal.
This is a stranger.
This is Shannibal, Garrett. Shannibal Lecter.
The next review, Tim, entitled Blessed, 5 stars, by Hope Reviews. Deep inside of me, you fill me with your gentle touch. Great review.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. Great review. What do you got?
This one I don't really care for. This is by Drew C4 from March, and it's called Garrett and Chris Do a Great Job. I guess if I had to pick, I'd say my personality is a Garrett. I'm very thoughtful and logical. I don't know what that means, and my name is Tim, you son of a bitch.
That's awesome. Couldn't agree more. This review is entitled Tim/Garrett by MGB255 from February, and MGB255 writes, Tim/Garrett is a sucker. Is there the same person? Garrett ? Gim ?
See, that's not fair. I think if anything, you should say Terrets ? Gim ? You're letting Garrett be his own person, but you're insisting that I am part Garrett, and I don't like that.
It sounds accurate.
That's true. Good review.
All right, what do you got?
I have a couple here. So these are 2 very negative reviews. These are by people that do not like our show. The first one is by number 1, a Noop fan. The title is just a frowny face, and it says, Men Who Love to Hear Themselves Speak. The other is by Dominic Hendricks, and it's called Negative Nancy and Nelly. And it just said, it's easy to be negative. It's easy to criticize. Now, I clicked on Dominic Hendricks because I wanted to see this is somebody that does not like our show because of how negative we are. I wanted to see all the positive reviews that they were giving to other shows that were positive. And what I found is that every one of their reviews is a single star. This person hates everything.
Oh, poor Dominic. He's so sad.
I know. I just want to tell Dominic, it's easy to be negative. It's easy to criticize.
Also, hate is in the title.
Yeah.
It's in the title, guys. If we didn't, it would be like rude.
I want to say, I don't like 1 stars, but if you want to write us a 5-star review and just list things you don't like about this show, I love that idea. List all my faults. Tell Garrett that he's super old. It's fine. That's great.
I love your examples, but sure, I'm mostly on board. Next review. This is by T Kiwi Fruit from June, entitled Stolen Innocence.
Oh, that sounds like a review of our show.
Yeah, I'll try to give it the dramatic reading it deserves. I will never be fully human again. I lost a piece of myself here today. Thanks a bunch to whichever one of you forced me to Google Thug Life Jafar. You're a monster.
God damn it, Dave Navarro is a magnificent beast.
He does look like some sort of
Thug Life Jafar. Nailed it.
All right, what else you got?
I got one by Zach Pye from September 5th, 2019. It's called Big Shark's Biggest Nightmare. Not only is this the funniest podcast out right now, thank you, Zach Pye, but they are exposing Big Shark's insidious plan to convince the world that sharks are real. Tim is a sucker. Don't care for that last part, but thank you for recognizing the important work we are doing.
Sharks are real, Tim.
They are not.
Agree to disagree. This is by Anaki. Was a huge fan of Bottomless Soup until they sold out and became a more mainstream band. You might know them now as Texas Toast. 3 tiny bombs on a Robert Christgau scale. P.S. Tim's a sucker. That's a great review.
Everyone should give us the 5 stars, then give us a Robert Christgau rating, whatever that might be. If it's a bunch of tiny sharks.
Or, I mean, it could be a gif of a man having his head removed by a bear.
I don't think that iTunes will let you put a GIF as a review.
No, I'm just saying.
Maybe.
I'm just
find out.
We're just going to get a bunch of like errors as reviews.
Yeah, that's also hilarious. We'll just sit there and imagine what you might have put.
That sounds good.
My next one is called Fantastic. It is from September 6th, 2019, and it's by Abraham Durkin. This is my second favorite podcast, second only to the hilarious Why I Hate This Orphan. It has given me new ideas for how to abuse my employees. Definitely listen if you are looking to add some creativity into your workday. We've recorded them. Let's just release Why I Hate This Orphan.
I'm telling you, Tim, society's not ready.
This guy is.
This guy's a psychopath. This one's a little long, Tim, but it is new. It is from November 27th. It is titled Please Help by Grammy Award winner Beck.
Whoa.
Who let him out? Hi, Grammy Award winner and alien enthusiast Beck here. I'm writing this from behind Garrett and Tim's couch. Please send help. I'm stuck here since they moved it back against the wall after Tim prepared his costume for the next week in the living room. Since then, I am unable to leave and assist my next hosts with their musical requests. I have tried to blow my kazoo, but Garrett thinks this is Tim playing a prank and begins to slap and beat him repeatedly. A strange golem-like child who refers to himself as 9 sometimes appears under the sofa but can't contact emergency services to help. Tim dropped his phone recently and it slid under the sofa, so I'm using it to write this message. Please somebody send assistance immediately. I fear for my own life and those of others. To make this a review, I guess this podcast is okay. I only ever hear muffled shrieking when it is being recorded and the occasional slap noise. Please send help. Much love, Grammy Award winner Beck. What Beck is hearing is rehearsals. He is never hearing the actual podcast. We don't podcast from the apartment. We have, not since Beck moved in, but we have. We podcast from the World Podcast headquarters here in Austin, Texas.
That's right. But sometimes Garrett goes to work and I say my part out loud so that I can practice getting the voice inflection just right, which is weird because I don't really have any inflection or tone in my voice.
Correct. All right, Tim, what else you got?
This is by Colby Spitz from November. It's called Never a Dull Episode, a podcast where a man unwittingly becomes a werewolf, stories of rooms filled with torture, a man unknowingly in a sex cult, allured by his dreams of the Old West, old, alcoholic, naked bears that haunt a man's psyche. The true terror of this show comes from not seeing anything, but leaving it up to the listener's imaginations. With faces described as if they could be anyone and everyone in a crowd, you will always be on your toes. Great character development, dialogue, and terrifying details. This is a great listen for every type of horror fan. My only criticism is that sometimes they add strange, long-winded conversations about the soundtrack, especially talking about how much they hate it. Super meta, but sometimes can be distracting from the story, but I digress. All in all, a great listen. Now that's horror, y'all.
It's a good review.
It's an accurate review.
This next review is by Quasi. Quasi, I think, has written into the show repeatedly.
Yeah, we tried to figure out how to say that name.
Yes, it's Kawazi, if it's the same one.
Garrett, I'm sure it's the same one.
Yeah. Sorry, Kawazi. Kawazi writes, am I doing this right? You told me to send my credit card bank information to you via email and then come rate this podcast thing 5 stars. Now, since I did that, can you put that $10 million in my account? Thank you, Lord Nazmira King Jafaratu of Nigeria. I can't wait to start spending all that money. P.S. Please let me know if there's anything else I need to do after I send these pictures of me wearing nothing but a cowboy hat to this Tim fellow. Tim, what did you do?
He is doing it right.
Okay. I won't question any of that.
My last one here, this is from December 7th, just a few days before we're recording this. It's called Sharks Aren't Real by Panda Bajar. I don't know how to say that. She writes in a lot, and I don't know how to say her name. This podcast makes me want to listen to music that is just awful. I used to hear a lot of the songs they review on the radio and get annoyed, but now I just can't stop laughing. They make me wonder what the hell is going on anytime I hear the word daddy. Was Tobin's Keith involved? I'm not sure if sharks are real anymore, even though I worked at an aquarium. Not sure what nonsense I just wrote. Check out the show and it will all make sense.
That's a good review. This one is entitled Yikes by Don't Call Me Candy. It is 5 stars, October this year. Believe them when they say, do not Google Mr. Hands. After too many drinks tonight, I did. I shouldn't have. And you shouldn't either. Good advice. All right, what do you got?
Mine is by Nans1979 from November, and it's called Welp, It's a Podcast. Let me start by saying the sexual tension between the two hosts, Jim and Derek, is so thick you can cut it with a knife.
I don't like this.
These two have taken their teenage angst and turned it toward the music of their teenage years. They really go in on the music they listen to themselves in their teenage years. Constant inside jokes force you to listen to all their old episodes. It's the most mediocre podcast I've ever heard. On the Robert Christgau scale, I give it 10 out of 10. I absolutely love these two cowboy lovers. You're missing out if you're not listening to this podcast. Now, a couple of things. 1, I agree about the sexual tension. 2, I need clarification. When you say I absolutely love these two cowboy lovers, are you saying that we both love cowboys or that we both are cowboys and are also lovers? I need to know.
Neither
fans.
are true. Neither are correct.
Well, you are not a cowboy and you don't seem to love cowboys, but
And we're not lovers, Tim, nor will we be, ever.
We'll see.
My last review is by Scandinavian Extremist.
No. I'm out.
December 10th.
Garrett, we cannot court this audience. I tried to court the alt-right. You told me no, and you were right. I don't want it.
Scandinavian Extremist writes, R.I.P. paparazzi. Despite all my Garrett, I am still just a Garrett trapped in a Garrett. The world is a Tim sent to drain, secret destroyer. So they seem to have taken some lyrics from Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness.
True, all of it's accurate, though.
Yeah, I don't disagree with a single line of it. That brings us to the end of the show, Tim, the end of 2019 year in review. How was your 2019?
It was terrible. You know how my 2019 was. You were here.
I was here. Anything you're looking forward to in 2020 with the show?
Oh, no. I hate it all so much.
Well, don't worry, Tim. I have been quietly working with the folks in the lab to come up with some new segments, and I think that we are going to make it a mission to find Brad. We sent Kelly and Jessica off into the South China Sea many months ago, and I'm just going to be honest.
I have an update on them. I don't know about Brad. Kelly and Jessica were killed by pirates.
Ooh,
yeah.
yikes.
I mean, we kind of knew that was going to happen. We sent them into pirate-infested waters.
I didn't know that was going to happen. I knew it was a real possibility. That's why we signed those waivers. We keep a standard pirate waiver as part of our internship onboarding paperwork. It's just too common. It happens too often around here.
And I think it's smart. But Kelly and Jessica, I guess, this is actually probably not a good, because I know their parents are both listeners, and we have not told their parents, but I'm so sorry.
Well, Tim, kidnapped by pirates. We don't know.
No, Garrett, they're dead. I know. Ooh. But here's the thing. You can rest assured knowing that they died doing what they loved, and they died in a noble pursuit of Brad. But yes, I would love to find Brad. I'm not going out into those waters looking for him, but I think we should send more interns.
I think I have a plan, but it does not involve you or I going anywhere near those pirate-filled waters. It's just not smart, Tim. We are the heart of the show. Obviously, I could probably get along without you.
I don't think that's true.
No. I mean, in life, sure, I would excel. But on this show, no. You bring a certain, how the French say, I don't know what.
I didn't understand a word of that, but thank you.
In any event, I do hope to bring some new segments to the show in 2020. I don't want to reveal them yet. Still hammering out the details, but that'll be some exciting additions. We aren't going to change things too much. Just want to keep it fresh, keep it hip. As we round out the year, let me try to brighten everyone's day by just saying, go out and Google Garth Brooks joins Facebook. Just give that a quick 50-second watch. And if you don't smile, let me know, and I'll come up with something else, because that makes everybody laugh, because that guy is terrifying.
If you don't smile or laugh, I have two more suggestions for you. Shaved Bears and Mr. Hands.
Nope, Google neither of those are funny. Don't Google shaved bears. Don't Google Mr. Hands. As always, guys, please rate, review, subscribe, and most importantly, tell your friends. You can get every episode we've ever done at hatepod.com. You can reach out to us at hatepod.com. Click on contact us in the upper left-hand corner, or you can reach out to us by just emailing us directly at hatepodmail@gmail.com. You can hit us up on Twitter at albumhatepod. You can go to Instagram at hatepod. You can go to facebook.com/hatepod, or you can find us on YouTube. I don't know what the URL is. YouTube/something. You'll figure it out. Keep the submissions coming, the stories, the suggestions, the reviews, the songs, the art. Drew, you weirdo. Nolan, for Why I Hate This Album and 2019. I have been one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey.
I have been Gordon Ebersol.
There's cowboys running through my dreams. Nothing's quite the way it seems. I joined the Navy, got kicked out in a week. My facial features aren't distinct. Try to find some meaning in these songs. The genius is a genius, got it wrong. No, it's a lobster murder sex thing. It's the bleaching of the rear. A full assault on both your ears. riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides, the cover art's a mess. Listen to it for a week, now that week has passed. It's the Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Gary.